In this tutorial, we will learn how to add multiple conditions for a single variable. The tutorials currently being uploaded are part of a game development course I created and published on Udemy. You can get the full course from the link below the video, where you will learn how to create both 2D and 3D games by building 3 powerful and exciting projects. To clarify the picture more, if we click on the 2D view and then drag the Godot icon back into the scene like this, but we will change the color of the Godot icon to this color. Now imagine that this icon represents the enemy. We can move the enemy by clicking on the move node, then moving it like this. Or I can press the W key, and in this case, the move node option is activated, allowing the enemy to move as well. Now imagine this is the enemy, and this is the player. How will the enemy attack the player? First, it will calculate the distance between itself and the player. If the enemy finds that distance to the player is far, it will run quickly to get closer to the player, and then it will walk slowly before attacking the player. In this case, we will have at least 3 states for the enemy. First, running. If the distance is, for example, 20, the enemy will run until the distance is 5, and then it will walk through the player. If the enemy finds the distance is 2 or less than 2, it will start attacking the player. This is what we want. To implement that explanation, we will go to our script, then we will add a new variable at the bottom here, var distance equal 20. But we will remove all the @export and keep only the @export for the new variable. And then we will remove the extra spaces like this. Now we have one variable which is distance. We go to the process function and add our first condition, the if statement. We will write if distance is greater than 5. In this case, the enemy will run through the player. Print enemy is run to player. Next, we will add another condition, an if statement related to this condition. How do we do this? We will use elif, which stands for else if in some other programming languages. And then we will write the condition, elif distance is greater than 2. In this case, we will print enemy walk to player. After that, if none of these conditions are met, by the logic, the distance will be less than 2. So, in this case, we will use else. That is, if the condition is not met and the other condition is also not met. What will happen? Print enemy attacks player. Now, how will this code work? At the start of every frame in the game, the engine will go to the if statement and check the distance between the player and the enemy. If the distance is greater than 5, the enemy will run through the player, and it will not check the elif and else condition. This means that only one of these conditions need to be met. Therefore, it will not evaluate the following 2 conditions. If it finds the first condition not met, it will check the second condition. If the second condition is also not met, it will check the final else. This means that it checks condition by condition, like this, until it finds a condition that is true. If it doesn't find any condition that are true, it will run the final else condition. Also keep in mind that we can have multiple elif statement here. But in this case example, we only used one elif. Now we will run the game to test the code. The distance here, as you can see, is 20. So the enemy is running through the player. And it prints enemy is run to player, because 20 is greater than 5, like this. If we set the distance to 5, we will see that the distance of 5, it will print enemy walk to player. Or if the distance is less than that, for example 4, the enemy will continue to walk until the distance reaches 2. And in this case, it will attack the player. Look, it prints enemy attacks the player. If distance is even 0, it will also attack the player like this. And since the first 2 conditions were not met, the last condition was fulfilled. If the player runs away to a distance, for example 7, the enemy will start running through the player again. And you can see enemy is run to player until it gets closer and the distance is, for example, 2. At this point, it will attack again like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next tutorial.